The main image for this magazine does something quite interesting with the way it juxtaposes itself with the main cover line, as the musician's arm is literally holding on to the name of his band that's telling us that they are Alt J. Moreover, the reason we know these people are musicians is because of the lead that is right next to the main cover line, which also is a snippet of the cover story. The colour scheme of the image is very minimalistic. This is because of the use of black and white, as the lack of colour can connotate professionalism. However, the colour black has a very strong message behind it. For example, it connotates power, strength, and authority. This linked with the direct mode of address the models have in this image, and considering the fact that they are in black, with a level shot, it suggests to us that these people carry a lot of authority and power behind them, which links to the way that the lead says that they are the biggest trio. This shows how the magazine is using Carl Rogers' ideal self theory to target their aspirant audience, as they want to look and be like these people in the main image. The masthead in this front cover conforms to the traditional magazine conventions, as it places the models over itself, as they are the most important thing on the page. This is the same for the strapline. However, the masthead and strapline are not covered that much because they are used so that the audience will consistently see both and instantly recognise them and pick up the magazine. This colour scheme for these two is rather interesting because usually the colours red and green are not typically used together, especially in June because of their combined connotations of a certain holiday season. But the colours have been turned grey quite a lot, which makes the magazine look slightly dull and a little bit boring. The cover lines in this front cover are exceptionally small, which is usually seen in regional magazines as they rely on their artwork to draw in its leading edge and aspirant tribe audience that prefer to see a magazine veer away from mainstream magazine tropes. However, the cover lines are in third left so that the audience will still be able to see the stories the magazine has. Not only this, but the cover lines are highlighted with a completely contrasting colour to the rest of the colour scheme, further gaining the audience's attention over other magazines. Colour lines are often used alongside Michel Foucault's knowledge as power theory, as the reason people actually pick up these magazines isn't just for the pretty pictures, it's to gain knowledge so that they can use them in their social lives. The main cover line conforms to conventional magazine conventions as it is the largest and second most important thing in the page, right after the main image. The main cover line also fits with the colour scheme, and this is because having anything more than 4 colours starts to make the magazine look a bit messy. And considering on how the professional and minimalistic look the magazine is going for to attract its audience, it makes sense to conform to this rule. The main image in this contents page is interesting, as it breaks the minimalistic approach the front cover had, and connotes a much more retro approach, with a wide variety of colours and smart use of lighting as it goes right across the models' faces, which are also on the rule of thirds, showing the importance of these people over the rest of the people in the contents table. It is also once again the largest thing on the page because it features the artists that are covered on the front cover. It is going to be talking about them a lot as well in the cover article, so it makes sense to have them as the largest thing on the page. The main image once again uses Carl Rogers' ideal self theory because the models are supposed to look cool, and so the audience would most likely want to look like them and be like them. The masthead on the contents page uses a 3D effect, like the subheadings, making the contents page look a bit more colourful and stylish, so that the audience will stay interested in seeing what is actually on the page, and any adverts that might be on the page. The colour scheme is also interesting, and it uses a gradient from light to dark blue for the headline and the subheading, connoting the loyalty the magazine has to providing entertainment to the audience. The table of contents does not paste information everywhere, like one of enemy's contents page and uses more images than giant clumps of text, making the page a bit more interesting for the viewers. Because when viewers are faced with lots and lots and lots of information, they tend to switch off and just skip the page or just look at the main pictures in the article. So things like the impressum just get skipped, which isn't good because you need to get the audience to read just about everything, even including the ads, to get a preferred reading. The impressum uses a large clump of text, which probably would make most readers skip it because there's a lot of writing. However, it follows the colour scheme of the rest of the magazine, using a light blue to once again connote loyalty to the audience, which helps with Stuart Hall's theory of preferred reading, as it makes the audience trust the magazine a lot more, and so it'd make them trust the ads that they have on the magazine. The main image for this advert is interesting because it looks like it has been computer generated, which fits with the brick's masthead, because that itself looks like an architect has drawn it in the style that they would draw a building. This image also fits the audience really well because it specifically targets a younger audience who are most likely going to be looking for a place to move out to. Moreover, the image suits the audience because the buildings, like most in Sheffield, have been designed with the environment in mind, making the advert appeal more to the leading edge and aspirant tribe that the magazine targets. The main cover line in this advert isn't really noticeable compared to the other pages, while being really well suited to the architectural style that the advert's going for. But this is probably because it isn't really sitting on the lines and junctions of the rule of thirds, and it is much smaller size compared to the other pages, meaning that it isn't as important. This is used to target the niche audience because they are more interested in the art, and there isn't really anything you can do with the cover line other than make it so it's drawn out like a blueprint. However, the cover line does still look interesting because it fits with the whole modern style of the advert. The masthead on this advert is interesting because it has been drawn out in the same style that they would draw out the buildings, which is sort of similar to the main cover line. However, the main cover line is a lot more simplistic. This modern style suits the target audience because the whole magazine is targeted towards a niche audience,